So I lied to you. If you're here after listening to the previous episode, which was titled, How Pivoting My Podcast Helped Me Find Clarity Every Entrepreneur Needs, I told you in that episode that the next episode was coming out like tomorrow, like the day after that one. And that really just wasn't true. Now, I want to tell you that I didn't intentionally lie to you. Like, there's no gimmick behind this. But as I was readjusting the plan and already recorded that episode and added this one in, I knew I just wanted to give it to you right away. So the plan was to release that one day and then a new one the day after, but I changed my mind. I didn't want you to wait. So now you have this episode too. So let's go ahead and get into it. Welcome back to the Drivenpreneur Podcast. And if this is your first time listening, welcome to the Drivenpreneur Podcast, where I help startup founders and emerging entrepreneurs get clear, take focused action, and build a business that doesn't burn them out. I'm your host, Brian Robinson, business coach and leadership coach. And today's episode, this is one that I feel like you're going to want to come back to again and again, because today what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the exact 6-step model that I developed to use with clients. And actually, all truth be told, I came up with this because I needed it myself. So everything I want to talk to you about in today's episode, I went through it, struggled with it myself. And every now and then it still tries to creep back in. But this framework is how this is how the framework came about. Because as the things were happening, I had to, and one of the tips I'll talk with you about today, you'll see that one of the tips is I tell you to take some time to focus on what just happened. And when you do that, you can reflect and then you can realign. And in that is how I came up with this model, the driven model, that I use to help clients, help them escape from the chaos of hustle that is self-induced and build strategic clarity without slowing down their momentum. Because who wants momentum slowing down, right? No, we don't want that. So a few years ago, I was coaching 3 business owners at the same time. Now, that sounds crazy because I actually coached a lot of business owners at the same time, both literally and figuratively, because I do have a lot of business clients, but also I do masterminds and group coaching. But anyways, I was coaching in this particular story that I'm telling you. I had 3 business owners at the same time, each in different industries. And on the surface, they all were doing fine. And if you are not watching the video and you're listening right now, I'm holding my fingers up, like air quotations, like they were doing fine. Revenue was coming in, teams growing, but every one of them said the exact same phrase to me. This is crazy because this really rarely happens, especially with 3 entrepreneurs in the same moment. They said, Brian, I just don't know what to focus on next. They were moving fast, meetings, marketing, networking, hiring, seemed like everything was good, but their growth felt like running on a treadmill at full speed. If you've ever done that, running on a treadmill at full speed, basically what that amounts to is a lot of huffing, puffing, sweating. You're exhausted, but ultimately you're going nowhere, right? That's when I realized that they were ready to hear what I had to say, which was, it's not speed that builds a business, it's clarity. You need clarity. And without a framework to create that clarity, you'll default to reacting instead of leading. And that was the beginning of what would become the driven framework. And again, everything I'm telling you, I went through it myself, which is why we have the driven framework. It worked for me and it has worked for clients ever since implementing it. And I'm telling you about it because I want you to know about it, because I want you to have your successful business that's not burning you out. So that became the driven framework, which is 6 pillars that I believe every entrepreneur needs to implement so that they can build a business that actually works for them and not against them. So let's go ahead and get into it. You want to grow, you want momentum, but if you're feeling foggy, stretched thin, or second guessing yourself, what you really need is clarity. And that clarity is built, not found. So here's how we do that using the driven framework. Well, D is discipline. Clarity starts with structure. So it's hard to think strategically when every day feels like chaos. So you need structure. So ask yourself, do I have daily and weekly routines that protect my energy and focus? So here's a pro tip. Start with 90-minute CEO block 2 times a week. And what this means is no meetings, no distractions, just strategic work. So you have time for yourself to do strategic work. R is resilience. You will hit roadblocks. The question is, do you keep moving forward with intention or do you get stuck in frustration? Ask yourself, when things go sideways, do I reflect and realign? Remember, that's what I told you. That's what I did when I hit a roadblock and things went sideways. I had to reflect and realign, which is how I came up with Driven. Or do I just grind harder? A lot of people think they just got to grind their way through it, right? So a tip here is build reflection time into your week. What's working? What's not working? The I in Driven is inspiration. Losing sight of why you started is one of the fastest paths to burnout. So ask yourself, does your current business direction still light you up? So here's a pro tip. Write down your why or who. Who are you serving? Who are you doing it for? Right? Which of course translates to your why. Write down your why or your who every quarter and evaluate. Are your actions aligned with it? V is vision. Without vision, we drift. Clarity lives in knowing where you're going and what the next milestones look like. Ask yourself, do I have a 90-day plan I actually follow? And that's the key, right? Having a 90-day plan that you actually follow. So here's a tip. Don't just create goals, prioritize what not to do. Vision is as much about focus as it is direction. E is empowerment. As the founder, you are the bottleneck unless you're growing as a leader. That's just a hard truth. So ask yourself, am I equipping myself to lead well or just survive in the week? So here's a tip. Learn, delegate, and trust. You don't have to do it all. You're building a business, not a prison. And sometimes that delegation means automation. So you can have automated tools that help you delegate. N is nurturing growth. True clarity isn't about perfection. And it's definitely not about perfect plans. It's about progress. So ask yourself, how am I tracking success and what does growth look like beyond revenue? And the key word, what does growth look like beyond revenue? So growth doesn't have to be just in revenue. It could be something else too. You get to decide. So here's a tip. Celebrate wins, track metrics, and create feedback loops with your team or your coach. So those are the 6: discipline, resilience, inspiration, vision, empowerment, nurturing, growth. That's Driven. That's your blueprint for building clarity that leads to real lasting momentum. And that's the Driven and Drivenpreneur, like this podcast. And you can create lasting momentum without losing yourself in the process. This framework is the heartbeat of everything that I teach in the Drivenpreneur community, which is my private and in my private coaching. So I'll talk to you more about the Drivenpreneur community that is coming. And if you're interested in being one of the founders in that, because that's launching soon, you can sign up. Just let me know. You'll have a link in the description for that. And if you find yourself overwhelmed, stuck, or spinning, you don't need another hustle hack. You need a roadmap. And this is it. This week, I want you to ask yourself this one question. Which of these 6 pillars is currently the weakest link in your business? So, and it might be more than one, and that's okay. But the whole thing, what I really want to challenge you is to be honest with yourself. Once you name it, do one small thing to strengthen it. Maybe it's setting that weekly CEO block. Maybe it's getting clear your next 90 days. Or maybe it's saying no to something that doesn't align with your vision. Small steps lead to big momentum when they're built on clarity. Now, before we wrap up, I want to make something crystal clear. The Driven framework isn't just a checklist. It's the heartbeat of everything that we do here at Drivenpreneur, from coaching to content to this podcast you're listening to right now. I didn't build this brand because I wanted another catchy acronym. I built it because I saw that every stuck entrepreneur I coached was missing one or more of these 6 pillars. And once we reinforced them, everything started to shift. Revenue grew, confidence returned. They stopped waking up overwhelmed, and they started leading with clarity. And it started with me. It happened with me. And this helped tremendously. That's why this podcast exists, because every episode from mindset to strategy is rooted in one or more of these 6 pillars. Because if you commit to building a business that lasts, this show can be part of your discipline, your weekly rhythm, your clarity reset. So here's the invitation. Make the Drivenpreneur podcast part of your routine. Let it be the 10, 15, 20-minute anchor that refocuses your week. I'm intentionally making these a little short because I want you to be able to take in at least one on your drive. But if you have a longer drive, take in several of these. And there's more strategy to these episodes. I'm actually trying to structure them to where you can take several in a row and that one builds upon the other. Because clarity doesn't come from cramming in more. It comes from carving out space to think, align, and lead. So if you'll commit to showing up here consistently, I'll commit to bringing you real tools, not hype, because clarity is built one intentional step at a time. And we'll take those steps together. And if today's episode has you thinking, I need more than just a framework, I need support applying this to my business, then let me introduce you to something built just for that. It's called Driven Owner. It's my flagship coaching experience for business owners who are ready to stop spinning and start scaling with clarity. And the way it works is if driven is the internal foundation, which is how you show up as a business owner, then the owner part is the external strategy, which is how your business shows up in the world. So here's what owner stands for. Yeah, but wait, there's more. O is operational excellence, systems and structure that make your business run smoothly. W is winning strategy, clear marketing and sales plans that actually bring in the right clients. N is network expansion, building key relationships and a loyal client base. E is exceptional customer experience, creating raving fans through service, not stress. And R is revenue growth, sustainable, profitable growth, not just spikes in sales. Together, Driven and Owner form a complete roadmap from mindset to mechanics designed to help you grow your business without sacrificing your life. If that sounds like what you've been missing, tap the link in the description. Check out the full overview of the Driven Owner coaching experience. There's no pressure, just clarity. See if it's right for you, if it's the right fit for your next step. And speaking of the next steps, our next episode is going to unpack the Driven Owner program even further. I'll walk you through the journey, show you how real entrepreneurs are applying it, and help you decide if now is the time for you to step into it. So don't miss it. Your clarity reset. Until next time, stay clear, stay focused, stay driven.